Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today finally getting my my clear recorded here of the Fell Angel Shinryu. So this was the global first event, and just like most global first Shinryus are, or hard events are, it was very difficult. I found this fight to actually be quite hard. It took me several tries to get it done. I initially on stream tried it with a full synergy team, and I got like one shot. And that's because I didn't fully read the boss. So let me explain why this boss is difficult. This boss has a lot of mechanics. By the way, I am rolling in with a core Jack Garland and Luna Freya setup here. And my thought is I just wanted a lot of power to kind of power through this boss as quickly as possible. So one thing this boss does is they will go through phases where it says preparing to recover. And the way that this works is you have to do 10 weakness damage attacks to cancel it. And if you don't cancel it, once the boss takes 2 turns in that mode, they full heal, which can be devastating. Because it's not like one of those bosses that's like, oh, they have low HP, but then they heal and you have to kill them again. It's like, no, they will full heal and you're basically redoing the fight. You basically quit at that point. So, if the boss gets the full heal, that's basically a lose condition. Because you're already really deep in the fight and you basically have to start over, so you might as well restart the fight. So, and the boss is only susceptible to ice and water. So that's how they're really pushing Luna Freya, but like someone like Rydia could work as well. But they really want you to have like ice or water enchant, essentially, is what you want to do here to hit that. And once again, it's got to be 10 attacks, right? So off-turn damage, like Kane, who's featured on here, or Core, work really well, because if you can get them enchanted, all of these off-turn attacks count as attacks towards the 10. So that's a good strat to get that, right? Now, what makes this boss nasty, though, is at the 90% and 30% thresholds, they will AoE paralyze your party. This is really bad, because if you get paralyzed when they are trying to heal, the boss could very easily spam 2 turns in a row and full heal, and that can just catch it really quick at the end. So that part's really nasty. The other thing is when the boss hits their force time, which they charge pretty quick, they're going to do an interrupt attack right when they enter their force time, and then basically that attack and any attack during the force time, if you get broken, you insta-die. So that's the other part that makes it very tricky, is because if you don't have the right mitigation or you don't have dodge, I've had this basically exact party several times at max brave, and they will still break you. Like, you still get broken. So it's very hard. I did several runs where it's like I was just trying to avoid it. So like, one of my first attempts here was I went very hard early with Jack Garland. And you could do massive damage with this Jack Garland setup, because I'm also bringing a Kane friend. So basically, my setup for Jack Garland is to go into a burst phase with his FR on, with Core doing follow-ups and actually swapping out Luna Freya for Kane and having Kane in the air, and Jack Garland getting follow-ups from Kane and Core, while doing really beefy damage, and Jack Garland also having a heavy prayer on. So really, you can get a lot of damage in that setup. The problem was when I went very hard early on, was that I could get the boss down to 40% or something ridiculous, but you'll notice this boss has like a ton of thresholds at the end. So the problem was at the end, then when going through the second burst phase, or not second burst phase, but the second force time with Jack Garland, one, you don't get as much damage out of it because you're not doing the full setup, because Kane was already used in the first one. You're not getting the burst time to be able to spam all the turns, so it's not as an effective one, so it's a little bit slower going. And the boss is doing a lot more attacks and interruption, and then you get broken and you die, right? So my thought was to kind of go slower at first. And so right now you can see I'm at full force gauge. So the way I operate this is I actually do my weaker Jack Garland force time first. So what I do during this one is I don't put Jack Garland's BT effect up yet, and I don't use his burst phase. So I just do a more casual one where I pop it. I kind of let my characters go naturally. I leave Luna Freya out. I don't bring Kane in. I basically, what I do is let the characters take their natural turns, because Jack Garland's force effect is good, where most characters can still up the gauge a decent amount. And then what I do is mid-force time, I just waste a turn to have Luna Freya quick prayer Jack Garland. So we'll go into it with a quick prayer on Jack Garland, right? Like right now, you can see we're starting it up. And we're going to take as many turns as we can, and then with Luna Freya, we'll just add another quick prayer onto him later to give him another few turns, right? The other thing this boss does that's kind of makes it more difficult is you can't launch it and they block your summon phase, right? So my first strategy would have worked out fine, because then I could hop out, go directly into a summon, you know, avoid all the nastiness and basically ramp right into the next force time and probably get it there, or strategically save the summon for when I know the boss is about to full heal or something, give myself more turns. Like, them blocking the summon is actually pretty nasty here, because the summon would be super helpful. The summon is like kind of your instant, like, oh crap, the boss is about to heal, or oh crap, I know I'm going to get broken and die. It's kind of like you're out to that, and they take that away from you. So it did make this fight a lot more challenging. Now this fight, and you're probably going to see something about it in the title, this fight actually has an insane ending, and I actually thought I was going to die. I almost like just quit the game without like playing it through, and we actually got through. So this isn't like, I would say, the cleanest, like most dominant victory, but it was a very fun, interesting victory. So you'll see how this thing kind of ends. It's actually kind of crazy. Core ends up proving to be quite valuable in this fight, because Oath of Absolute Defense makes it so that normal Brave attacks can't break you, which is invaluable against the boss who kills you when they break you, right? But the thing is you can set up where you get, like, using the friend unit, you can set up Oath of Absolute Defense basically on the whole party, because what it is Core's EX. The buff has a different name, but it's his own version of Oath of Absolute Defense, pretty much does the same thing. So basically, if you're upkeeping buffs, Core and like one of your allies will always have Oath of Absolute Defense. The reason why I died so many times in the past with this team is that the member without Oath of Absolute Defense would get broken, and if just one character gets broken, the whole party gets wiped. So, this is kind of where Kane comes in, which you'll see when we get into it, right? So obviously I'm really looking at my buffs, making sure I'm aware of what I've got on everything. Luna Freya needs to do 2 attacks to get up into another quick prayer. But you can see, yeah, I got Jack Garland now. Yeah, I just got him re-quick prayed up. Now he's only going to get like the last 2 attacks here, but it's fine. It'll be some good damage. So right now, see that green aura preparing to recover? We have to make sure before the boss gets 2 turns that you have to basically do 10 weakness damage attacks. But you can see that's weakness damage, so that's 1. Here's 2. So you can see with Core or like off turn, you can hit that very quick. I don't believe that counts as a separate one though, so that was all 1. But yeah, Jack Garland, I mean 12 mil putting in work there, right? And then this here is going to be like attacks 3 and 4. So LB, yep, so there's 3 and then there's 4. So you can see, like, with all the attacks we have with Core always following up, we're going to hit that very easily. And then what will happen is the boss will say fail to recover, and you'll be good to go. The other tricky thing you can do is if you're desperate, you can bring in calls, and if your calls can do weakness damage attacks, that's the way you can quickly take like another turn, like free turn if you need to. But yeah, if you're not prepared, this fight can definitely get you. It's pretty nasty. And here's the thing. This is also how the fight protects against running a very passive defensive team. Because, like, the boss is, like, somewhat aggressive, right? You can see that they've got, like, locked turns and they're taking a lot. But there aren't multiple enemies, so you're not going to get a ton of attacks in to build up your gauge enough with, like, a core FR. And the problem is when they're preparing to recover, if you sit back and let the boss attack, he's going to full heal. So even if you're trying to do a defense comp, you have to have a strat to be like, okay, I got to quick get my 10 hits in and somehow bring in speedy characters or use a bunch of calls or something. So they really did work the fight to make it not very straightforward in terms of like, I guess it's straightforward what the fight does, but it's not so easy to just walk in here with any team, I guess is what I'm saying, right? So you have to be careful. The other thing that makes Core very good I think Core is actually like an MVP in this fight. Because 1, I already mentioned how good Oath of Absolute Defense is. And 2, between his LD and his Reaper scale, he can spam a bunch of turns to help hit a bunch of weakness damage, right? Now you can see the boss just entered Force Time. So I basically, the strat I did was in these instances where I knew I could get broken and die, I had to play with calls. So I believe earlier in the fight I used the Raijin call. And then I had a Rydia call, you can see that I popped there. So now I'm really riding, so we can see the Rydia buff. We already used one of them on the force attack. I saw that force attack was coming. That sucker is going to break you and kill you. So I've used the Rydia call to dodge out on that. And now my goal is just to try as best as I can to get into a force gauge without him healing. And then also without me dying, right? So you can see all these additional attacks coming in. So this Holy Jump Plus, if this breaks you, you auto die, right? And once again, I've been capped brave with the same team. and it just auto broke me, and I was dead. So, and it doesn't auto break you, it does do brave hits, but it's just, he does so much damage. I'm sure you could run a debuff comp that would really mitigate the damage, and I think that would be another strat you could do on this boss for sure. Just run really, really heavy debuffs could possibly work. Like, really potent ones. Alright, so Luna Freya right now, I just wanted to make sure Jack Garland had Quick Prayer, and I'm pretty sure I just ramp right into Garland, and here's the thing, this boss right now, if this boss got another attack, they would full heal, so I have to use the LD just to spam extra turns here with Luna Freya, and there, that was the 10th hit. Renew failed, now we're safe on that. Now the boss can take turns, but I'm pretty sure I'm close enough now that I'm ready to ramp into my combo. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to energy heal, and I think I might even have to spam another LD. So the goal here is we ramp into Force, and then Luna Freya is actually going to swap for Kane. We get Kane up in the air, and then Garland can basically use his 2 extra attacks to set up with his BT effect, do his Force time, and then go into his burst phase. And then we basically go crazy from there with our double off turns and Jack Garland, and basically get the boss to dead. Now, I don't think we quite get there, and this is where the really interesting ending is going to happen, where I thought 100% I was going to die, and I didn't, and somehow we survived, and we get this boss out of here. So prepare for a crazy ending. We're getting there. It's going to be quite crazy. Alright, so Luna Freya is almost there. I just popped this call for whatever reason, just to do a little extra. It didn't do like any damage at all. And then I was thinking about what to do here, but yeah, I decided to do the AA, and that does take us up to 100. And I think at this point I'm free to swap into Kane. Now Kane, I think I do use his AA here. Because, oh, I forgot. Or maybe I do it after this. Because his AA would stick with him while he's up in the air. I don't remember if I used it here or not, but using the AA is a good idea. Yep, I did. So I used the AA. So that'll stick with Kane up in the air. And then we're going to go ahead and jump up. This is good. Now, Kane, keep in mind when you see what's about to happen, Kane being in the air is very important. Ridiculously important to how this fight ends, and you're going to find out why. Alright, so right here, we still had a dodge left, so we're good. Okay. And now it's Garland's turn to go crazy. Oh, and that's the other thing. Because Luna Freya is off the field, we have to use Kurosami Call. That is another thing that is key to this. So keep that in mind. Like, everything here had to be, like, so perfect. Because if we don't have Kurosami Call, we are not doing, we're not doing very good brave hits, but we're also not doing weakness damage. So if he tries to heal, we're not triggering our 10 attacks to stop that. And with Kurosami Call, the goal is we use our force time here. When we're in burst phase, that call turn count doesn't go down. So we hold on to that Kurosami, and that is party ice enchant, which Kurosami is the key for that, right? And then the thought would be by the time Kane came back down, we could just get into Luna Freya and get our, her natural ice enchant back if we needed to, right? So we got the boss at about 60%, so I'm feeling like, alright, I know this version that I'm about to do is going to pop a lot of damage. We might be able to just about kill. So we're going to go BT attack, and then we're going to go right into burst phase. So we've got everything set up how I want it at this point. We are primed to do massive, massive damage to this boss. The question is can we do enough, and can we do it quick enough? Because normally what I like to do is kind of cap it off with a big brother summon at the end with another like 15 mil added on, and that usually would finish the boss off. We don't have that option here, right? Alright, so now it's time. Jack Garland burst phase. And Jack Garland's burst phase is very easy. His skill 1 and skill 2, you just have infinite uses. So you just spam those until you basically have 4 attacks left. And then your last 4 attacks, you do EX, LD, force attack, and then you do the burst attack. So you basically just spam the 15 and 35 until you see that Jack Garland has 4 attacks left. And you can see the damage is huge. Like, just ridiculous amounts of damage. And once again, we're getting Kane and Core just going crazy. So this already, yeah, that was already 7 mil. And our percent isn't really that high. And Kane just dropped 1.8 mil from the sky. So you can see we already took 20% off the boss. He went from, or sorry, 10%. 10 basically from 60 to 50%, and we've barely attacked. So this was my goal. I found this fight very annoying, so I'm like, I want to do a lot of damage very quick to this boss, because I find it very scary. So that's kind of what we do here, is just spam through and do a lot of damage. And once again, look at all the boss attacks coming up after, though. This is where it gets scary. It's boss attack, core, and then 2 boss attacks. So a couple of things to watch out for is if they trigger a heal, they've got back-to-back turns after core, which could get really nasty. Another thing is they could just break us in some of those attacks, which would also be really nasty. Now notice Kane isn't anywhere to be found, which means he's safely up in the air. And once again, Kane is going to be a key element of how this craziness gets us through here. And that's the other thing, the boss is popping these threshold debuffs, right? And we have a really nasty one. At the beginning, I think I said it popped one at like 30%, but I think it might actually be at the 19% threshold. We'll see. We're at the 30% right now. But I think it's actually it's at 90 and 19. That's what it is. It's at 90% and 19%. I believe that they paralyze you, which is really bad because you feel like you're about to win. You hit the 19, you get paralyzed, and then they take multiple turns and either full heal or kill you, which is really nasty, right? So we're just wrapping up here. So now we're about to hit the burst attack. Now we still have 2 turns of force, right? So I'm like, all right, this isn't going to kill him. But I believe within the force time we can. The problem is what is this boss going to do to us on these in-between turns, right? Now here's what's crazy. I forgot about Core's Oath of Absolute Defense, making it so you can't be broken. So I was extra worried here. But here's the thing. Kane is up in the air, so that's an auto miss. And Garland and Core can't be broken right now because of Oath of Absolute Defense. But look, Core got freaking paralyzed here. So I'm like, we are definitely dead. Watch what happens, because they are on renew right now, right? So we got hit. I thought we were going to get broken. We didn't get broken. But I'm like, oh, they're going to renew. They get another turn, right? So Core got paralyzed. We're screwed. They're going to heal right now. They're going to heal up and kill us. Or full heal, right? But Kane drops the spear. Core follows up right before. And then renew failed right before. He literally was about to full heal on us. And those 2 off-turn attacks stopped the renew. We literally, this fight was over. And then we got a lucky miss there on top of it. They're attacking again. And I'm like, oh my god, they're going to break me. They're going to break me. And then here we go. I'm like, Jack Garland only has 4,000. How do we live? How did he live with 1? Core's Oath of Absolute Defense saved him. And now it's like, and here's the thing. Garland is going to finish this off now with an LD attack. And all those off turns we did in between, it was at like 700%. So we did so much damage off turn at the end, and we had just enough defense and luck to get through. It was a pretty wild finish there at the end. Like, the fact that like they took a turn with renew on and Core was paralyzed, I was like instant death. I was like, you are gonna full heal on me and waste this run, and we had you dead. And we dinked them with 2 off turns. That's why off turn is so good for stopping the renew. So anyways, guys, let me know what luck you had with this fight, what team you brought into it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.